It's a great day. My name is Che Brown, the happy entrepreneur, and welcome to the Happy Entrepreneur Show, the number one business development and revenue focused late night show in the country where we are on a mission. And our mission really is to inspire, our mission is to empower, and our mission is to provide you, that's right, you, the hard-working entrepreneur, with all of the resources that are necessary to execute that big vision you have for the people you were called to serve. And on this episode, we have the one and only Keri Clarke-Pearson. She's in the building. She'll be talking about unlocking your potential for HBCUs as they're networking. What's going on, Keri? How are you?
Hello, how are you doing today? Happy to be here.
Well, it's happy to have you. It's happy to actually talk to someone I met before. Sometimes I never get a chance to meet folks, only through the power of these fiber optic lines. And sometimes I've had a chance to meet, and I know we recently met at an event in Atlanta. Question for you as we get ready to start. I know we'll be talking about unlocking your potential, empowering HBCU students and young professionals to discover and achieve their passion and purpose. It opens a question. I'm an HBCU grad. I know you are. You get to represent in a minute. What's the big challenge holding HBCU students and young professionals from really entering the workforce the way they need to?
Well, it's a combination of a few things. The first is really making sure it's the right degree in the right area. Because when they graduate, they're like, okay, I have a degree. I'm really excited. But what job am I going to get? What does that next step look like? So providing that training and the tools that are needed to ensure that not only do they have the skills, they have the next steps, but they also have that network there to help support them and guide them.
And it's folks that might be listening, HBCU folks, shout out to all the HBCU folks. They're like, wait a minute, how is it different? We just spent a gazillion dollars in 4 years on education. So, Shay, at the risk of sounding sarcastic, and I don't want to sound that way, they might be, Keri, is this in conjunction with the HBCU? How is it different than the education? They just spent all that money. Parents, myself, my sons with the HBCUs paying for. So I guess the question is, how is this different than the education they just got?
It's not necessarily that it's different, it's the next step. And I think that's what's missing right now, right? So you graduate from school, but you're still new into the world. You're still trying to figure out how you do your networking. What is the next step in work? How do you build up your career? These are a lot of questionable things that we have at such a young age. So by having that support and guidance that can help you in that last semester of your college or even the year before to figure out, is this job, is this going to be my passion, my goal? Or do I want to focus a little bit more on something else? Where is the combination between my interest, what I want to do, and then adding in where you can make a difference? Because at the end of the day, if you do a job that's just bringing you in money, money's great. Don't get me wrong. I love money too. But you'll get burnt out quickly because it's a job that you don't truly enjoy. So you want to pick a field or area that you truly have expertise that you're excited about being in.
Now, when I was a young whippersnapper, there was a time I didn't have an idea. I didn't have a clue what my purpose and passion was. I mean, I'm not even doing anything. I know my degree is in business, and I have nothing to do with business, what I studied in school, by the way. So my question is, at 21 or a young professional that's 21 to 25, because I know you're all young watching right now, by the way. But let's say in that 21 to 25, 26 range, do you help folks kind of discover what their purpose and passion is? Because I had no clue. I was just lost.
Absolutely. Same here. At first, I was lost until I had guidance. So someone came in and kind of showed me the way of what that next step would be. And that's what I want to do. I actually have a curriculum that breaks down all of those next steps. But for those folks that are advanced and just know that they're ready for the work world, they're looking for that job, that interest, but not really sure what it is, I have a program that breaks that down. Self-discovery, taking those next steps in to find that perfect career for you, to then give you the opportunities and then actually land that role.
Don't worry, ladies and gentlemen. I'm going to ask her to reveal one or two or three of those steps. I'm not going to let it leave you hanging. Don't worry about that. But I know some of you like Shay, she's coming out. I'm listening to her. I would agree that we all could use help, especially when we're trying to find our purpose and our passion. But ask her, what does purpose mean these days to her? What does passion look like from her view of the world? I think that's a fair question at a fair time. So Tell us, what
Yeah.
does purpose and passion even look like? What does that even mean these days?
Absolutely, and that's a great question. We want to first start with what is success and what do you define it as? Back in the day, it used to be that phrase of having, the husband or the wife and the 2.5 kids and the dog and the picket fence, and that meant that you had true success, and that was it. But what is success truly to you? Being that you can feel like you're comfortable, that you're being in your purpose. And purpose is doing something where you're helping others, where it doesn't feel like it's work anymore. It's just something that you truly enjoy doing. So we want to figure out what that spark is for you, what truly brings you to life, and then pair that to an opportunity of a role that would work great for you into the workforce.
Now the curious, who is this person talking? I hear Shay. Sounds good. Don't worry, we're going to get how you can find your purpose, how you can find your passion. Yes, she has curriculum, but don't worry, she came here to serve. So I'm sure she'll share one, two, or three maybe four ideas that can help you. But first, they want to know, who are you? What's your backstory? There's someone right now that didn't get a chance to read the bio. Someone right now might be cooking dinner right now and they're listening like, got my attention. Someone else is in the car driving. Hey, thank you all that we're playing through your ear pods right now. We appreciate that. So take a moment. We'll slow down. Tell them the backstory. Who are you? And why are you so passionate about this mission when you could be doing something else with your time?
Absolutely. Well, who am I? I am you. I was that HBCU student, so excited that I just knew what I wanted to do. I was going to be a double major. I was like an MBA major as well as a bio major, pre-med, and I was just going to take on the world. It was all of these additional courses and overwhelming myself at such an early stage versus really being able to take a step back out. I went in and went on and did accounting at first and realized, wait a minute, I like to talk to people. I like to be around. Yes, I'm good with numbers, and that's a good, safe career and a very great career. But for me, I love to connect with people, be out and about, moving and grooving, and really having those conversations. And I couldn't do that behind the desk. So I had to start looking for opportunities that did work for me and figure out what my passion was. And through programs like National Black MBA and other leadership programs like Forte, it was an eye opener to see what I truly enjoyed. And it was helping other people, being able to help them avoid some of the pitfalls that maybe I had, or be aware of opportunities that they didn't know. Because at the end of the day, you don't know what you don't know. And I want to help guide that and be there for you as that support. So that way you always feel like you have a helping hand that can take you to that next step.
And this is something that you can do anywhere. Why did you narrow the niche on HBCUs?
Yeah, so initially I started off doing HBCU recruiting. I pitched or I sold my first job to a company. I was at a conference and I ran into a senior leader and they asked if I was interested in, working at the company. And I said, I would love that, but I really want to do some type of recruiting with HBCU students because they didn't have diversity recruiting back then. It was more like the D and the I, nothing else at that point. And so I said, I think it'd be really cool if we could tap into the HBCU network and connect, because part of the problem is companies do not know how to recruit to HBCU students. So it's not that there isn't talent there. It's not that there isn't opportunity there. It's just they don't know how to get in the doors, right? Because the HBCU is a family, a connection that's built within. So by being able to go out as an alum and go back to my university and help recruit students from Hampton, I was so excited to get back into that space. And I said, this is what I need to do. This has got to be my goal. And from there, I just wound up doing different forms of diversity recruiting or diversity development or trainings, really continuing to grow that ability to understand and help develop talent. And now I've come to the point where I want to step out and use that information to be able to go back to my home by the sea, go back to my alma mater and help, and go to other universities and help as well, because HBCUs are so important. And I feel folks need to know the history and understand how much success and Black excellence comes from an HBCU.
Shout out to all the HBCUs in the building. She had to get a shout out to Hampton, by the way. She had to get that shout out in there. So we allow that shout out.
I did. My mom went to Howard and my dad went to Clark. So, we got a little battle in the family most of the time. But so I got to put mine out there.
Oh, man, that's kind of cool. I can kind of imagine that, by the way. That's kind of cool. as you're on the other side listening now, there are folks saying, hey, they might have nieces and nephews, sons and daughters. Some folks have relatives and friends that are at HBCUs. They're like, if she could step back and pass along 1 or 2 steps to me that I could pass on to someone else that can help them that are at HBCU right now or a young professional. Shay, what is step 1, step 2, and step 3 that she would offer to me? Please go ahead and share with them if you would.
Yeah, absolutely. Number one, be active, be aware, know what's going on campus, right? Just be plugged in. And I know that's easier said than done, especially when you get to your junior and your senior year and you're ready to go and get out in the world. But you want to make sure that you're hearing what's going on, because there might be an opportunity or a career fair or a networking event or even alumni that's coming back to speak to that would be great to connect with. So the first is always be aware and listening to what's going on. The second piece would be network, network, network. And I actually have some tips on that I can share on my little playbook later for you. But it's all about how you can do networking to take that next step. When you think about it, 10 years from now, 5 years from now, you can say that you went to this, HBCU and find 10, 15, 20 people in your area. Whether you want to network to learn about what schools there are for your kids, or maybe you're new into the world and you're trying to figure out where to hang out or where to go, or if you're moving to this town, who do you connect with? By building up your network when you're in school, adding them on LinkedIn and making sure that you kind of stay connected with them, years and years can go by and you can reconnect and open up another level of connection.
So those are a couple of things they can do. It doesn't cost them anything to do that at all. That's something that they could do right away. And for the student, it's like, I'm not really an extrovert, but I do want to reach out to folks and let them know that they're alumni or they're in the area. Any language pattern that you kind of recommend? Do they just drop them a DM on LinkedIn? Is that how did I say that right? Do they just find them on Facebook and send a friend request? These are some of the insider secrets. She does much, much deeper, by the way, much deeper that she gets into. But I want you, as you're watching and listening right now, to take this and be able to apply it. I want you to just hear about it. I want you to just know about it. I want it to be information. You can take what she's about to share. You can pass it, pay it forward, and someone else can connect with other alumni or start their network because they use words. So I guess my question is there language patterns that you recommend that people go about when they're reaching out, and how should they do it?
Yeah, that's a great question. I'm so glad you asked that, because that is one of the pitfalls that sometimes we fall into, right? When you want to connect, like, oh, I know that, they went to the same school, I'll just add. But how do you know them? Like, what is the connection there? And if you don't know them, it's easy just to say something as, hi, my name is so-and-so, this is my major. I see that you're an alum, and I would love to connect and, either pick your brain or learn a little bit more about the role or opportunity that you have had. Because once you start allowing other people to talk about their experiences and their journeys, it can, one, add insight to you, but two, it can then make you see those next steps. Okay, so here's where we go. This is the next step here. And then they may have another referral for you and another referral. So it's really about opening up that initial door, but it's about being humble, being open to just say, hey, I'm an alum and I'm trying to learn, and be vulnerable. And most of the time, you're going to have an alum that's going to want to give back. But, I'll give you an example. I had someone who reached out about an event, and they said, hey, would you come attend this event? I really didn't know much about it. I looked on their LinkedIn profile. I was like, oh, they went to Hampton. They might need some support. Okay, I'll go check it out, see what it's about. So that's the kind of connections that you build, but you want to make sure that you're opening up the conversation as a, hi, my name is, this is what I'm interested in, and these are some areas or things that I see that we're connected in, and I'd love to know if I could have 15 to 20 minutes of your time to talk.
And as you were speaking, thanks for sharing, thanks for being transparent. As you were speaking, I was wondering that when we're going through an interview, because I know you have experience on the other side, are there 1 or 2 questions that's appropriate for us to be to ask someone that's recruiting us to kind of see if it fits our values and fits our purpose and our passion? Because just because, like you said, there's a job or a job offer, it might not be a good fit. So does the person wait and go through the whole process and then get an offer and then start asking certain questions? If so, what's 1 or 2 questions they should ask? Or if it's okay not to wait till the end, what's one or two questions they can ask as they're going through the interview process. And the reason I'm asking that question, ladies and gentlemen, is that, folks are going to find themselves, as you said, at some point, if they don't become an entrepreneur, they're going to go interview for something. And this is another unique way of them standing out from the competition. So what's the suggestion you have for someone that's going through the interview process to kind of ask the person on the other side?
Yeah, so the first thing, you want to make sure they have a good company culture. You want to make sure that it's a place that you want to be. A lot of times you can get signals by seeing the people that are interviewing you, how they connect and talk with you. Also, when you ask the question, can you tell me a little bit more about your corporate culture, X, Y, and Z? So you never want to just say, tell me about your company and kind of sit back. You want to be able to provide that you've actually done the research, you know about the company and that they have some pieces, but you want to deeper dive into understanding more about the culture. And then that will allow you to learn, is it more of a company that would work for you or not? At the same time that you're doing this, though, you should also look for alumni that are in that company and reach out to them and see if you can get a few minutes of their time and ask how they feel about it. Because that's when you're really going to get the true answer and experience, and know what that next step looks like, whether you can handle that or not. Another question I would say, or the main piece that I would add in at the end, is after you have an idea, make sure it's the role that you want to do and that there is progression, right? That there's another opportunity. So if you're an analyst, is there a manager position for that role? Is there a director? What are the levels up? Or are you going into a role that's actually going to pigeonhole you into one place? So you want to make sure that there's opportunity for growth.
I love it, by the way. I like it. Opportunity for growth. And ask for that straight up front. I love that. It leads us to a great segment. We have a segment here called Today is My January 1st. Now, for those folks who tune in every night at 11 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, you know what I'm about to do. You can go ahead and say those magical words. Today is my January 1st. For other folks who wonder, what's going on, Shay? What does that mean? Today is my January 1st represents a fresh start. It represents a do-over. It means our past, no matter how dark and gloomy that past is or how bright and sunny that past is, the past no longer equals the future. And so my question for Keri on the other side is really a two-part question. Number one, when you hear those words, today is my January 1st, what do you hear? What do you hear? What do you hear? And number two, what was a moment, if you ever had one, that there was a setback, and really, how did you bounce back from it? Maybe life's been perfect. We're going to find out. But how did you bounce back if there was one?
Yeah. So my January 1, man, that was a refreshing moment for me. But I can go into several reasons of how I got to my January. I've always wanted to help HBCU students. Going there changed my life and helped guide me to that next step. However, it's when I got into the workplace and I could see those same opportunities weren't always afforded to everyone else, and sometimes hidden behind unknown norms and rules. And then that coupled with doing corporate recruiting for over 15 years, I just realized that it's important what recruiter you work with and what experience you have in order to either make you successful and cultivate you, or make it so that you have to find another opportunity. And after I realized that and started seeing those kind of hidden norms, I realized that was what I needed to do. My mission, really, my goal, is to help HBCU students graduate, feel prepared, and in place where they can achieve, but more specifically, achieve in the area where their degree is, right? So that way they can live their truths and become future leaders in the workplace. Sometimes it's simply you just don't know what you don't know. So having that success or that tip can help guide you there. So for me, when I started seeing that in consistent times, I said, you know what? Let me take a step back and see how I can help and what I can do. And I really wanted to be there to empower the next generation. And I always knew at this stage in my life, I was going to make that change, but didn't necessarily know what day or moment would be until it happened.
And that moment has arrived. That time is now. Yes. One of my favorite questions, and again, thanks for sharing, thanks for being authentic, that I love to ask when we have time is, what's one of the best pieces of advice you've ever been given? And I know you've been given a lot. I know you've had many mentors along this journey of life. You read a ton of books. We can see behind you all the books over there, by the way. You probably watch more videos than anyone's can count these days. So what's one of the best pieces of advice you've ever been given, and why did you like to share with the audience?
Yeah, so I would say one of the best piece of advice I was given is network, network, network. And when you're tired, network some more. And when you're tired of that, take 5 minutes and come back. And do it virtually as well as in person. And this is a little bit further back. So LinkedIn had just started. And so I was in a marketing internship, and they said, hey, we have this new cool tool. It's called LinkedIn. Some people are getting on, some people aren't, but it's nice because you can connect. So I would recommend, when you go back to your university, to just connect to all your friends and all the people that you know. And so I did that over the years, and now my network is strong, and I have people that maybe I haven't talked to in 10, 15, plus years, but I've realized I can still connect with them. I'm still seeing all this success and things that are going on in their life through LinkedIn. So it was nice connecting. But again, it goes back to network, network, network. Whatever medium, whatever form, networking is the way to build relationships and to take that next step towards success.
Wow. Well said. Success is a team sport, ladies and gentlemen. We can only get so far by ourselves. As you're on the other side, I'm curious. And here's the question: what do you do for fun? Like, when you're now saving the world, helping HBCUs, making a difference in the lives of other folks, helping them have careers with purpose and passion. What do you do for fun these days?
So I love to hang out with my friends and my family, and do all of the stuff. But I truly love to paint and to carve. So, I'll take it back. One of my cousins, I was at her house, and she was about 9 years old. And she's like, Auntie, I can't find anything that looks like me or has my name on it. And, it's just not fair. She was really upset. So I said, well, I can't let that stand. So I went home and I got a stool and I carved and I made her a Tinkerbell stool that looked like her with her name in it, and then sealed it so she would always have it. And it was kind of like that next step started to become a thing for other folks. Like, oh, would you make me one? And so it's more of a passion and fun for me than it is, for selling in any way like that. It's just really, truly passion.
Ah, wow, that's kind of cool. So does she still have that to this day? Do you know?
She does. And she's a Morgan student right now. Let's talk about it.
I had to bring up Morgan State University. I mean, I don't know why, but as an alumni of Morgan State University, you expect me to mention that, by the way. So she's watching now. Go Bears, or anyone out there, go Bears. As we come down the home stretch, really a two-part question. Part one is, what type of clients is your firm looking to work with these days, if any, by the way? And number two, how can folks best connect with you? How can they stay in this conversation over and beyond the time that you and I have right now?
Yeah, absolutely. So one, really focusing in on high school seniors, as well as college students, as well as recent grads. And these particular areas, there's different development that would go in, but I love working and connecting with students and helping to take them to that next level. It becomes a family once you get involved together, so it's nice. And then my website is achievewithpurpose.org. And you can connect to me on there. And I have a free playbook for you to check out that talks about how you can actually build your HBCU network and then take that next step for utilizing it.
Well, thanks so much for being on the Happy Entrepreneur Show. Thanks for all you do. We've got to have you back again.
Thank you. I really appreciate this. This is great.
And thank you. Thank you for the viewers. Thank you for tuning in, by the way, because without you, there is no show. So we appreciate you here. This show has one goal, and that is to provide you the resources. And so right now you have the resource, whether you're a young professional or HBCU grad, or some of you out there, even senior folks, you can apply these principles right now so you can truly live life to the fullest and really live the life you deserve. And that's so cool. With that being said, I want to remind you, as I do every night, 11 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, I never get tired of sharing with you that you're amazing, as you're watching right now, you're an awesome, incredible individual that's doing some really good in the world. And because today is your January 1st, because of just that one reason, I still believe your best is yet to come. Your best is yet to come. Your best is yet to come. With that being said, my name is Shay Brown. It hasn't changed. The Happy Entrepreneur. Make it a great day, everyone, and we out of here. Peace. Thanks a lot so much, Keri. We'll see you later. Bye-bye, everybody.
Thank you. Have a great